On the night of March 8, 2014, Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 departed from Kuala Lumpur International Airport at 12:41 a.m. en route to Beijing Capital International Airport. On board were 239 people, 227 passengers from 14 nations, and 12 crew members. The aircraft was a Boeing 777-200ER, a plane known for its reliability and long-range capabilities. The flight was scheduled to last approximately 6 hours, crossing over the South China Sea, Vietnam, and parts of southern China. For the first 38 minutes, everything proceeded normally. At 1:19 a.m., as MH370 transitioned from Malaysian to Vietnamese airspace, the last communication came from the cockpit. "Good night, Malaysian 370. That brief sentence would later become a chilling reminder of the moment the plane disappeared. Shortly after, the aircraft vanished from a secondary radar, the kind that relies on transponder signals. But what few knew at the time was that the aircraft's primary radar, used by military defense systems, still tracked it for a short while longer. Instead of continuing on its planned course, MH370 took a strange and deliberate detour. It turned sharply westward over the Malay Peninsula, flew across the Strait of Malacca, and then disappeared from all radar coverage entirely. Investigators would later confirm that this turn was almost certainly executed manually, meaning someone in the cockpit had likely altered the plane's course. This was no accident, but who was responsible and why? In the hours that followed, confusion reigned. Malaysia Airlines initially reported that contact with the aircraft had been lost, but there was still hope. Planes occasionally lose communication temporarily, and most are soon found. But as dawn broke and MH370 failed to arrive in Beijing, it became clear that something was terribly wrong. Families waiting at the airport were met with silence and conflicting reports. Rumors spread rapidly. Had the plane crashed, been hijacked, or diverted? It wasn't until days later that investigators revealed a critical piece of information. The aircraft had continued flying for at least 7 more hours after its transponder went dark. This revelation came from an unexpected source, Inmarsat, a British satellite telecommunications company. Though MH370 was no longer transmitting standard flight data, it was still sending handshakes, brief, automated signals, to a satellite every hour. Using this data, analysts were able to trace 2 possible flight paths, one stretching north toward Central Asia and the other veering south into the remote Indian Ocean. The northern route, which would have taken the aircraft over several heavily militarized countries like India, Pakistan, and Kazakhstan, was quickly ruled out, as no radar systems detected an unauthorized aircraft in their airspace. That left the southern arc, a path into the desolate waters of the southern Indian Ocean. A search zone was narrowed down to a massive expanse of ocean about 1,200 miles southwest of Perth, Australia. But this was only the beginning of a monumental search effort. The search for MH370 became the most expensive and complex in aviation history. Initially led by Malaysia, Australia, and China, the operation involved dozens of ships, planes, submarines, and satellite data analysts. The Indian Ocean is vast with deep, rugged terrain and unpredictable currents. Months passed, and not a single trace of the aircraft was found. The world watched in disbelief as search efforts turned up nothing. No wreckage, no oil slick, no debris field. It was as if the plane had vanished into thin air. For over a year, the disappearance of MH370 remained a total mystery, until July 2015, when a flaperon, a piece of wing, washed up on Réunion Island, east of Madagascar. It was soon confirmed to be from MH370, marking the first physical evidence that the plane had indeed crashed in the southern Indian Ocean. Over the next few years, more small parts of the aircraft would be discovered along the coasts of Mozambique, Tanzania, South Africa, and Mauritius. But the main fuselage, black boxes, and the majority of the aircraft have never been found. As physical evidence remained scarce, theories about what happened on board the plane began to flourish. Some believed it was a catastrophic mechanical failure or fire that incapacitated the crew. Others speculated about hijacking or a terrorist attack. But increasingly, attention turned toward the pilot, Captain Zahari Ahmad Shah. He was experienced, respected, and known to be calm under pressure. But investigators discovered that he had practiced a flight path eerily similar to the suspected MH370 route on his home flight simulator. This revelation caused some to suspect that Zahari may have deliberately taken the plane off course in a planned act of murder-suicide. However, no conclusive evidence has ever proven this theory, and Zahari's family and colleagues have firmly denied any such possibility. The Malaysian government's official report, released in 2018, concluded that the plane was deliberately diverted, but could not definitively say by whom or why. The report criticized air traffic controllers for their delayed response and poor coordination, but ultimately left the world with more questions than answers. Alternative theories have ranged from plausible to outlandish. Some believe the aircraft was hijacked and flown to a secret location. Others propose that a sudden depressurization rendered everyone unconscious, and the plane flew on autopilot until fuel exhaustion. There are even theories involving military cover-ups, alien abduction, and advanced cyber hijacking. The lack of conclusive evidence only fuels the mystery, allowing speculation to run wild. In 2017, after more than 3 years of exhaustive searching covering over 120,000 square kilometers of seabed, the official search was suspended. A private U.S.-based company, Ocean Infinity, resumed the search in 2018 under a no-fine, no-fee agreement with the Malaysian government, scanning over 112,000 square kilometers. Unfortunately, they too found nothing. As of now, the wreckage of MH370 remains undiscovered, resting somewhere beneath the dark and silent waters of the Indian Ocean. The disappearance of MH370 is more than just a technical or navigational failure. It is a human tragedy. Families of the 239 passengers and crew have lived for over a decade without closure, tormented by uncertainty. Some still hold on to hope, while others campaign relentlessly for transparency, accountability, and the resumption of the search. Each year, vigils are held, names are read aloud, promises are made that this will not be forgotten. The case of MH370 has led to some changes in aviation safety. New regulations now require commercial planes to report their positions more frequently, especially when flying over remote oceans. Efforts have also been made to improve satellite tracking and black box technology, yet many argue that not enough has been done and that the airline industry remains vulnerable to similar disappearances. Even now, the mystery endures. Every so often, rumors surface. New satellite images, deep-sea sonar anomalies, suspicious debris sightings. Each one reignites the debate. Each one raises the hope that perhaps one day the final chapter will be written. But until then, Flight MH370 remains one of the greatest unsolved mysteries in modern aviation. A story of loss, of silence, and of a sky that took something and never gave it back. The ocean holds its secrets tightly. Somewhere in the deep, the truth waits. But for now, we are left only with echoes. Echoes of a flight that vanished, a signal that faded, and a question that haunts the world. Where is MH370?